Before the modern day camcorder was introduced, shooting home movies wasn't that easy. Old film cameras were not that easy to use compared to a modern iPhone, for example. The film would only last about 3 minutes. Then when you got it back from the processing center, you had to set it up on your projector, get a big screen, hope the film wouldn't break, and then it would look something like this. When video cameras finally came out, they were big and had to be connected to VCRs. Until 1984, that is, when JVC announced the very first video camera recorder all-in-one. The modern camcorder was born. The carrying case for the JVC GR-C1U was so impressive that it had its own set of instructions. But it was what's inside the case that was really impressive. Isn't she a beauty?
This is truly amazing. A portable television studio.
Let's take an in-depth look at the camera now. We'll take a look at its functions, see how it operates, and then we'll take it out in the real world for a spin. One of the first things you're going to notice about the camera, besides how retro and cool looking it is that it comes quite modular inside its own case. A lot of different parts and doodads. For example, you have this handle, which is optional. You can attach it to the top of the camera. It goes onto like a hot shoe type plate and screws on. Personally, for me, this adds an extra height that you don't need. One thing that's not really optional that you need to attach is the viewfinder. It does not come attached, and it also has a hot shoe type of adapter, but it goes in a different orientation along the front, and you have to press a little knob on the top, and then there's a multi-pin connector that goes into the dedicated viewfinder port. But if you want to see anything out of the camera, you're certainly going to need to connect the viewfinder. Once you got that, you got to figure out how you're going to use the camera in terms of juice. And here is your standard battery. If you want to take a look and compare it to an iPhone, you have to be careful with batteries like this from the 80s because they suffered from something called a memory effect. And what that would mean is that if you stopped using the battery before it all the way cycled down and then started charging it again, it would remember that for the next time and would not give you as much juice. Now this battery is a longer play battery, and this baby is a brick, maybe 20 times heavier than an iPhone, and really is going to add weight to the camera. But if you're going to be out in the field for a long time, you're going to use this. Now, if you happen to pick up a JVC GR-C1U, you can actually still get batteries for the camera. JVC and Panasonic shared this battery format for a lot of their older camcorders. You're going to have to go either on eBay or on other battery sites. Just do a Google search for about $30 or so. Just be careful if you order from China or from shady places, because a lot of times they may not work. This is the battery charger. It goes into the dedicated battery charger. You click the switch, you see the light on, and when it's powered, the light is on, and when it's done, the light is off. One nice little feature about the camera, look at this, a removable mic. Videographers and photographers clamor for cameras that have removable microphones, and a lot of the consumer ones, even today, do not and have microphone ports, and this has an external microphone port built in. As a matter of fact, there is also an external headphone port as well, so you can monitor your audio if you want to. So JVC, slightly ahead of their time back in 1984. Okay, let's take a quick look at the functionality of the camera. You have your power switch right here. All right, your basic controls, play, stop, record, are all on the side. There's a tape counter to see where you are in the tape. It sounds like she's struggling, but it's very charming actually. When you insert your VHS compact tape, make sure you insert it the right way. Gently close the door. Now, to engage recording, you have to press two buttons. What you have to do is you have to press record and play simultaneously, and then when you look in the viewfinder, it takes about a second or so, and then you do see an image. Now, if you happen to like videotaping fake food, like my orange juice art piece, the orange is not going to show up as orange in the viewfinder. You have to remember it's black and white, so keep that in mind. And then you press the button right here, and that engages the mechanism to record and play. The controls are right here to play back your tape. You have your rewind, stop, and when you press play, you can see what you shot in the viewfinder. You want to put as little wear and tear and stress on the mechanism as possible. The smartest thing to do is to take the tape out and play it on your VCR when you really want to watch the footage. As a matter of fact, I am a fan of video rewinders, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a VHS-C rewinder. So if you're near the end of the tape, and instead of rewinding your tape in the camcorder or even your VCR, these dedicated rewinders will just do the job and take the stress off of your high-priced mechanism. Okay, so you shot your footage and you have your tape, and just pop it into your VCR. The camcorder uses special VHS compact tapes, which require an adapter to go into in order to pop into your VCR. The adapters run on batteries. Some are manual, but this one has batteries. Very easy to use. You just insert it into the adapter, you close the lid, and that automatically engages the mechanism. And at that point, your VCR thinks you have a regular tape in, pop it in, and play. Controls on the side of the camera include white balance, standard and adjust if you have a white card, sensitivity up if you're in low light conditions, but that'll increase your gain. Iris is your exposure control. It's not in discrete f-stop increments, but you can still manually adjust the lens opening. You have a 1-speed power zoom switch on the side of the camera, or you can adjust the zoom with a rocker switch right on the lens. The lens is a pretty fast f1.2 lens with a 6x zoom capability. There is a macro function as well, but there is no stabilizer, and you'll be able to see that from the sample footage. So the question is, what kind of video quality can we expect from this camera? Let's do a little ridiculous test and compare the quality to a modern 4K camera, the Lumix G9, for example, which shoots great 4K video, and compare it side by side. Here is the 4K footage, and here is the JVC footage. Yeah, that was a little brutal. Let's scale it back a little bit. We'll go back decade by decade in video quality, so there'll be more of a gradual change. For example, we'll start off with 4K, which was introduced in the mid-2010s, and then we'll take a shot with HD, actually the HDV format, which was introduced in the mid-2000s, and then I'll show you some footage from high 8, late 80s, early 90s. We'll use the Sony TR300 to shoot that. And then you'll see footage from the video movie. Maybe it'll be less jarring. Let's take a look. Okay, here's your 4K footage. This footage was shot in high definition HDV. Here is high 8 footage. And now the JVC GR-C1U. See, it's not too bad when you look at it this way. One thing to remember is that this camera did not have what's called flying erase heads. So when there is a transition between recorded scenes, you're going to see a little bit of a glitch, like a little bit of a rainbow effect or a glitch, so that if you were recording something important, you got to give yourself a couple of seconds, knowing that there's going to be a little bit of a glitch right at the beginning of the scene, so you have to time it properly. One thing that's important to note is the white balance switch. Since it's a black and white viewfinder, you need to have your white balance in the correct position, or else the footage might come out looking like this. This is recorded in an incorrect white balance. This is recorded in incorrect white balance. And here is the correct white balance. All right, enough negatives. Let's show you some footage from this camera. Actually, it has quite a vintage charm to it. So who said you can't use a 1980s camcorder to pick up chicks? Mom is watching closely, making sure nobody gets within range of her children. Very tight security. Interesting how the animal kingdom works. She's like, no way. They are cute though, that's for sure. Definitely getting the evil eye there. Okay, one more time. We're going to take a look at the same scene. Here it is in beautiful modern 4K footage. Same scene, shot with the JVC GR-C1U in VHS-C. People might give you some strange looks, but, well, I guess I'm kind of used to that. What's wrong with strange looks? It's better than no looks. So it's nice to see some test footage at a park, but nothing beats actual, original, vintage footage shot in the 80s with this camera so you can see for yourself how it performed in the real world.
Hey, you guys win. Hey, I want to sign a release. Hey, we got a lawyer in the back. You got a piece of paper I want to hand it. Hand it off. Hand it off. Oh, Julio Iglesias. Check it out. You gotta go see him. I just can't get over it. It's totally awesome. Here we are at the San Diego Zoo, the most famous zoo in San Diego. I don't like this place. It's a zoo.
With JVC's invention of the camcorder, most would agree the world became a more fun place.
Everywhere you go now, there's some dick, some yo-yo, some putz with a camcorder, and he is going to tape everything.
Well, I said most people agreed it was a step forward. I guess not everybody shares that viewpoint. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and please let me know your thoughts on the JVC GR-C1U.